Hey everyone, and welcome to Where Did the Rest of Me Go? I am Dino the Genetic Marvel, your host, and you can follow me here on every platform. This is a 30-day series. This is day 25 of a 30-day series where we discuss the changes that I made in my life to go from over 450 pounds, which is about that big, to what I am now, which is just below 290 pounds. Um, where do I start? So there's a lot of things that we've been talking about. Last week we talked about food. The weeks before that we were talking about mindset and perspective and how it all kind of plays through. And when we hit roadblocks, how do we react to them? And what's in our control, what's not our control, various things. So I encourage you to go check those out, please. Um, but today we're going to start a new conversation with regards to one of the real key factors in the changes that I made. Specifically, I started using fasting. Now, there's a lot of times people will say that they fast, and there's apparently different understandings or perspectives on what that means. So, um, one of the things to understand is that I've now been fasting for months. No, okay. I've been practicing fasting for months in various degrees, but the key to that was that there were elements that I had to kind of figure out on my own. And then I started doing some research, getting a little understanding, but it was little baby steps that helped me get forward. So one of the things that was really important, and I explained this to a lot of people, was that I was so fat I couldn't even work out. And you'll hear. I remember there's a clip floats around every so often because I see those kind of things where Joe Rogan is like, "Oh, no one's too big to exercise," and you're going, "Well, it's not just about being big, or it's about being comfortable, and also like your heart and your physical and all sorts of things, right?" So I was so fat that I was afraid to be physical. Um, I was hesitant to do things because I knew I only had, say, 30 seconds of activity before I started sounding like I was going to die. That's the honest truth. I apologize for all the glare. I was in the sun all day. If you check my Instagram and Facebook, you'll see. I also did a reel today. I did it first time smoking, but smoking a pork shoulder. So, but I digress. The one of the keys there was that I felt like I didn't have any choices. I didn't. Well, I can't exercise. All I knew was to exercise. And then one of the things that happened was I explained earlier was I started having problems with my side, and I had what's called a non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So um, uh, it was causing me physical pain every time I ate. So I was trying to stay to. I was having fat-free puddings and Jello and horrible stuff. Horrible only because it's really not. It's not food. It's just gunk that fills you. It's not really healthy or anything like that. But it's got low calorie and it's got mass, and you can survive off it for a while. Especially for me, I had stores everywhere. So um, one of the first things I did and I've fought with this many a times throughout my life, was eating early. As a large person, and even now I suffer from acid reflux all the time. It's gotten a lot better, but one of the key components is eating early in the day made life easier. That was just a constant thing, and it's tough because there's always that connotation where people go, "Oh, you're an old person because you go for the early bird special," and maybe I am, maybe I am an old person at heart, but I'm also a fatso at heart. So it was more so that, especially around the pandemic, one of the easiest parts was we didn't have plans with people. Uh, we are fortunate enough to have the opportunity to spend time with Victoria's parents, um, and they require us being around. And them being elderly, we don't want to bring anything home, so we said, "Hey, you know what? We're just going to stay home." That offered us a great opportunity because if we were about to stay home, then we were kind of able to structure how we did things. And I'll tell you, I in the beginning, I know that my wife wasn't too happy about eating so early in the day. And because it's very, very old person, like if you feel like an old person. Um, but also too, she was doing her own thing and she was getting eating better and picking what she ate, and she was on her own journey. And when we were able to fall and kind of in line together, it was a lot better for both of us. But now it's actually something we look forward to where we're like, you know what? Yeah, it'd be nice if we can have food before 5, before 4, perfect. If we can eat dinner before 3, man, tomorrow scale's probably gonna be down, it's gonna be great. We're gonna feel fantastic, right? So, little things like that were the first kinda step, was eating earlier, for dinner, where it's like, "Okay, I'm not gonna eat after 6," and then just stand by it. And it was hard, it was tricky, it was one of those things that we had to do a little bit of balancing, because we still had things to do. And, but we tried and we kept on trying, and if we didn't one day, you know what? We would immediately feel the effects of having ate so late because we wouldn't have a good sleep. Maybe our stomachs were in a little pain. We had a little acid reflux or something, and it reinforced that, hey, you know what? Eating early, not that bad. Now, that was a key component to start things off. And then we started doing things like, oh, instead of having breakfast at 9 in the morning or 8 in the morning, we never had 8, but you know what I mean. But instead of that time, we pumped it up to, okay, a little later, 10, then a little later, 11. And then every once in a while, we can, work a little something and have it closer to noon. Even if we make it early, we just let it sit. So then you have a much smaller window. Hey, what's up, Michael Bryan? Right? So when you have a much smaller window, it kind of becomes a little easier, a little more palatable. Because if your norm is not eating after 4 or 5 o'clock, no big deal. You get used to that, right? And don't get me wrong, you're going to be hungry. Just, just if you try and lie to yourself, you're going to wake up at 11 o'clock at night and you're going to order Uber Eats, which I have done. I'll admit that flat out. Okay. Or take a drive, order the McDonald's, do a drive through, do something foolish. "Oh, I just need to eat." You don't. But when you allow yourself to be misled by your own mind, you very easily betray your principles. And that was one of the key components I found was that taking the time to just be honest. Like there was a few nights ago where I'm like, I need to eat. It's against my fast and everything, but I didn't eat enough during the day. So now it was nighttime, like because we had breakfast kind of early, and it was too few calories for me to be okay. So by 6, 7 o'clock, which is way out of where I should be eating. I usually eat within a 4 hour window at most, if not just one meal per day. So now we're talking about as close to a 7 hour window, and it's a lot. It's against all of the principles. But I'm like, no, no, no. I'm calorie deficient. I've worked out. I've done all the things. I need something substantial. And you know what? Um, it wasn't the I just had, some deli meat and some cheese and a couple of pickles. That's what I ate. So all those things, while not horribly bad, it was kind of, you know, there's a Greek word, tsima tsima, just little, on the edge. Uber Eats is like, we'll figure out what we got. Eats, they never get. That's also true. We've had so many hilarious circumstances where we're like, "Hey, bring it to the side door. Bring it to the side door because it's got an overhang. There's a chair above ground. It's like just you can leave it on a chair. It's perfect. It's out of the rain. It's great." Oh, we left it at the front. Why would you leave it at the front? We would even confirm with people. It's just one time they left it at the next door neighbor. You're like, "What is happening?" It's very confusing. But I digress. So when you kind of stack things properly, because there's a lot of times people will be like, "Oh, well, you know what? I'll just delay my breakfast." Great. You're gonna eat dinner, and then you go, "Oh, I'm still hungry." "Oh, you know why? Because I had lunch, not really breakfast, and da 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 da, da," and you're there. And that's how it works. How does your first meal make you feel after a long fast? Hard to decide. That's a great question. So, with regards to fasting in general, is you have to be careful how you break your fast. And one of those, also, hello, Walkie Talkie Janine, how are you? Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. And I appreciate the question. So your body reacts a certain way. Remember, it only takes like 12 to 18 hours, and your body starts kicking into that fasting mode where it starts practicing autophagy and starts cleaning stuff up and doing good stuff for your body. Okay, um, and it's you start. I forget what the terminology, but it's ketones start getting produced, and essentially what it's a transition of your body stop using glucose as in sugar and start using your reserve. So what it does is it takes fat and turns it into glucose, and then your mind runs on glucose. I'm not a scientist, but that's generally what it is. The idea behind that structure means that your body it's ketosis. Thank you very much. So when you get into that, your body reacts to what you eat. So in the same sense, like when it's just like over and like the next day where I'm just one meal a day, I usually try and open up a fast. I use eggs and there's actually a video. One of the guys that I follow, his name is Dr. Berg, has a lot of really good information. He looks a little bit like a hippie and a weirdo. Don't get me wrong, but so far he's the best speaker. Where you're going, hey, this guy doesn't sound like a charlatan. A lot of people uh, do. So with regards to that, there's five things that are good for you. So number one, eggs. Number two, avocado. Number three, Greek yogurt. Number four, bacon is okay. And I think number five. Hmm, don't remember. Maybe a nut or something like pecans or something. I don't know. But in general, so what I'll do is I'll have eggs, bacon, and then an avocado with Greek yogurt mixed together. Not everything, just the Greek yogurt and the avocado. And then I also put a lot of hot sauce on it too. And it works out really good. Yeah, bacon. Number one, bacon is forever. Let's be honest. Okay, Michael Bryan. Michael Bryan has a show called Bacon. It's on Spotify. Do you have vertigo? His Jen gets vertigo sometimes after tough workout. So I have fallen a little faint, but when I was working out 2 hours, because the thing is, if you're fasting, you shouldn't be working out. That's what everyone says. Now, I'm as big as a house, right? So even now that I've lost 160 pounds, I'm still humongous. So I still have to be careful when I work out. So I do like a light workout when I'm fasting. Um, but that can definitely happen. Bacon for life. See, that's why we're married. It works. So with regards to vertigo and stuff like that, like also too, women react differently. So let me go back a little bit. Walkie talkies and eat. So when it comes to fasting, especially baking a long fast, I'm still working with that. So there's also when you're in a longer fast, which we're going to talk about probably tomorrow about long fasts. Um, you have to be extra careful because after a longer period of time, your body starts producing really cool stuff. So growth hormones, stem cells, and really you feel very active, but you don't do anything. It's weird. But the thing is, if you start eating bad stuff, like carbohydrates, like bread or oats, cereal, stuff like that, to break a fast, is your body's going to in turn start um, producing fat with those stem cells and growth hormones, stuff like that. It's really bad for you. So now, when it comes to no nausea, hard to digest, like I will, a couple times we went out for barbecue and I was like, hey, I'm coming off of 88 hours. So I had two boiled eggs, soft boiled eggs, ate those, waited a couple hours. Usually after you, also too, there's the pooping. Is pooping gets weird, just to be clear, which I'll touch later on. But I'll start with the nice stuff and then we'll go to the nasty stuff. But yeah, nausea, no. If anything, you kind of get a little more ravenous. So you'll eat something to break your fast and then be like, maybe I could have a little more. That's definitely a thing. So with vertigo, yeah, no, you got to remember too is it's very much you can't, and I've said this a couple times before, is you can't out train um, a good diet. So if she's suffering from vertigo, we can talk offline, and I'll see if I can help just with regards to kind of piecing it together because I'm gonna start doing that for people. But so that's the message for today. Is number one, small steps, and don't try and trick yourself. Right? Is start with just not eating dinner too late, and then make that your first step, just lasting the evening until breakfast, and you'll find that that's a good first step. So step number one, eat an early dinner and stop. That's step number one. And I'll be back tomorrow, guys. In the meantime, if you think this is beneficial, please send it to somebody else. Like it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I will be back tomorrow with next episode explaining a little more about fasting and kind of how things can work. I know I gave a lot of information today, but hang in there. It all makes sense in the end. Thank you very much, guys, and have a wonderful evening. I'll be back tomorrow.